Do you think any child is ever born by accident? Yes. He was stunned, his face a mark of surprise as he furrowed his brow and looked at her. Why do you say this? Tell me this. If a mother is raped and she becomes pregnant, is that not an accident? She said confidently. Have you ever considered that child might grow up to become a great world leader and bring peace to the nation? A counter. This book is a wow. Welcome to P English Literature, a YouTube channel that conveys Amazon, Goodreads, blog, and video book reviews coupled with interviews with authors. It's a perfect channel for book lovers, authors, and writers generally. P English Literature, the exact channel for you and me. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of Her Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow. This book is actually very interesting and I found it absolutely wholesome while I read through it. But before I move into my review, I want to urge you that if today is the first time you're watching this video, or if you've not subscribed to this channel, to please click on the subscribe button over there. Also consider liking this video, turn on the notification bell so you can get notified anytime I release new videos. Thank you very much for that. I so much love this book. I so much enjoy my time while I read through it because I find it a book that is absolutely wholesome. It is didactic and it has quite a lot of information, messages to communicate, despite the fact that it's a novel. Before I start my review of this book, I want to read to you about the author. Dan's core objective is to dig deep within his own heart, search the corner of his mind, and commit to paper some of the questions he asks about his own fate. Sometimes it becomes a matter of questioning a long-standing practice of a denominational body and if that is the best way to win people's heart. To Dan, it is all about exploring the nuisance and quirks that make up how we interpret at this point. His desire to use the gift of writing to honor the Lord compels him to provoke thought at Christian practices and explore his faith as it encounters difficult situations. Though some of his stories may step outside this overt message, there is still an element of faith in each one, and that's what I actually find very obvious and apparent while I read through A Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow, because I thought that this book acts a kind of a tone, it acts a kind of message to pass on to humanity. I think it's a sort of book that everybody should read because apart from the fact that it's a novel, I know very well that some novels should have some kind of message to communicate. There is absolute reality here. There's message that has to do with humanity, and I feel that it's a book that I really recommend for everybody to read. Before I talk about this book, I want to read to you the synopsis that was inscribed at the back page of the book. High school cheerleader Stancy Kent dreams of an ideal future with her boyfriend, star halfback Tucker are meeting. After unexpected tragedy befall the couple, she is left with a life-altering decision. Surprised to discover she is pregnant and feeling isolated from a divorced parent, Stancy is confronted by a future she never expected. In a misguided attempt at avoiding this responsibility, she is met in her dream by a stranger who carefully guides her through an unknown future for a child. Exposed to both beautiful and unseemly glimpses into her child's life, Stancy must re-examine her belief that to remain free of this responsibility is the right one. Forced to watch a child endure hardship and success, Stancy comes to a surprising realization about her own tenuous relationship with her mother. Will she seek to repair the damage done from years of defiance, Or will she continue to embrace the unsettled anger between them? Will she allow a child the freedom to discover life on her own or chase her now hollow, unfulfilled dreams? Whatever the outcome, it will require a level of commitment she's uncertain she can attain. And that's one of the reasons why I love this book. On reading the synopsis when I was going to pick it up, I was like, this book is actually going to be fantastically impressive, and I love it, and I'm so happy that I'm not disappointed while I read it. This book actually details the story of the protagonist, which is actually Stancy, who is a high school cheerleader. Stancy fell in love with a meeting talker, and from there they begin to play love game, which eventually result in her having pregnant. Stancy's parents are actually divorced, and when she realized that she was pregnant, she found it very difficult to let her parents know, because there is no strong bond that ought to exist between a father and a mother to a child. So she's really forced to keep the pregnancy from their reach. But before that, it wasn't long that her boyfriend, Tucker, died, that she discovered that she was pregnant. And the scenario of her pregnancy left, a long time emotional malady on her heart. And sometimes she would cry, sometimes she felt dejected because she wholeheartedly loved Tucker. She has this kind of dream that she hoped to live together. Peradventure, assuming he's not dead, she hoped to live together with him for the rest of her life so that they can have children together and live a happy life. But when death took Tucker away, it made everything absolutely different. It made it very difficult for Stacy's dream to come to realization. And when she realized that she was pregnant, she couldn't trust her parents because they are not very close together. They occasionally have problems together. They do not agree on almost everything, and it was very difficult for her to relate what is happening currently in her life to her mother. And her father, the other way around, is a businessman who hardly have a time, and so she found it very difficult that she had to resort in her friend Tonya. So when Stancy resorted in her friend Tonya, she told her that she would like to commit an abortion, and Tonya actually tried her possible best to stop her from committing an abortion because of the repercussion or likely ramification that is attached to it. But Star 6 actually very obstinate about it. She told Tonya that even Tucker, before he died, came up with the notion that if eventually she gets pregnant, he will be able to terminate it because he's not ready to become a father. And by the way, he's still a high school student, so he doesn't really have the resources to become a father. So this was one of the reasons that make Stancy more interested in committing an abortion. So after too much time with which she has been pestering Tonya, Tonya finally drove her to a particular clinic where she's gonna meet a doctor. On getting to the hospital, so they moved inside and she was booked. So from there, she entered and met a particular doctor. She relayed a condition to her, and the doctor examined her so much, asked her quite a lot of questions why she's willing to commit abortion. After Stancy relayed genuine reasons to the doctor, considering the fact that she wants to go back to she wants to further education, and she's not ready to have a baby yet. And by the way, she doesn't really have the money to take care of the baby because all the money she has is reserved for her college life. And by the way, her parents are not really incoherent with her. Her parents does not really have a kind of the smooth relationship that ought to exist between them. Her mother and her frequently fight together, and her father does not really have a time. And so even her boyfriend, who is the father of the baby, is dead. So she was like, why should she have the child? She conveyed her heartfelt a genuine reason to the doctor. So after Toya has taken a whole lot of time to deliberate on this matter, she now have the notion of resorting with a therapist. This is actually the same therapist which her mother always meets. So when she gets to the therapist, she relayed her condition again, wanting with the hope to get an abortion. But the therapist was still also resisting, though it's another person. She told her that, what if there's another method to go around this? And by the way, what if your mother gets to know eventually? So after long heated conversation that exists between both of them, Cassie discovered that even the therapist used to have a sort of a sexual relationship between her mother, because long after her mother has divorced her father, she always go after young men, seducing them. So the story kept unfolding, and it was unfolding in a dynamic manner. I so much love the characterization and the plot twist. So after the whole conversation that the therapist was having with Stacy, she found out that the therapist was even sleeping with her own mother. That she was very, angry, and she walked out of the, therapist's office. So from there, her mother, who has been waiting in the hall, ran after her and said, Stacy, wait for me, what's wrong? She knows something happened to her, but she couldn't, discern what was it. So after the long, deafening silence drive that they had to their home, Stacy went straight to her room and, stayed there. After Tori rather, because Tori is actually the mother of Stancy, had stayed downstairs for a long time. She knew that whenever Stacy is angry, the thing she would do is to go into her room and lock herself up. So she went ahead to go and meet her in the room, and when she got there, she discovered that she's lying on the bed. And when she checked very well, she discovered that she just took some pills. This was very, very difficult at this point, and it is very, very intriguing at this point, because I found this point actually very action driven. It is captivating, and it is absolutely enthralling. So after a long time of Tori wanting to wake her up and she's not responding, she had to put a call across to the emergency by dialing 911. So the emergency came within short while, and they rushed her in an ambulance to the hospital. Once Tansy got to the hospital, she was immediately admitted, and she was in a state of coma for over a week. So while Tansy was in a state of coma, she fell into a deep dream. Stacy is actually someone who has been dreaming for a very long time, and that's one of the reasons why she always visits therapists, because she do have some kind of weird dream, which is, to my own perception, is a look into her future and into her past. So in her dream, Stacy met this being who showed her the likely outcome, or what would probably become, of a child's life. That's an unborn baby. In my opinion, I think the aim of this particular being is to communicate and convince Tansy from committing an abortion. The aim of this being is to tell her of the likely good luck and success that, surround giving birth, even though she does not want it at this point. And this novel made me to, resonate with some kind of reality that would probably exist in a society today, of any sort of mistake like this, because I find it's a kind of a book that is deep into what is really happening in a society. So in her dream, Stancy met this old being, and she communicated her heartache, her problem to the being. And the being now told her, that's the point with which I recited at the beginning chapter of the book, of this review. And one of the conversations that the being had with Stancy was what I recited at the beginning part of this video, where I said, do you think any child is ever born by accident? That's the being talking here. Then Stancy was like, yes. So the being was actually stunned, his face, a mark of surprise, as he furrowed his brow and looked at her. Why do you say this? So the Stancy now responded and said, okay, tell me, if a mother is raped and she becomes pregnant, is that not an accident? So the being later responded and said, okay, have you ever considered that the child might grow up to become a great world leader and bring peace to the nation in future time? So, This is actually a sort of a reality that exists between people, or that should exist between people who is at the verge of committing an abortion, who is at the verge of terminating a young baby's life because of the ugly circumstances that surround such pregnancy. Some people might be raped. Some people might have a kind of an unexpected pregnancy. Well, I think one of the reasons why, or one of the moral lessons that I learned while reading this book is to accept any sort of ugliness, because we cannot, because of a particular sin that happened with that actually result to the particular birth, then one thing, or let it be the cause of you, the baby, the child, the mother wanted to terminate the pregnancy. So I think that this book is actually trying to communicate a sort of message here in this particular subject about abortion and some other thing related to it, because I actually find it very interesting, and it's actually a sort of message that needs to be passed on to everyone out there. And this book actually made me remember my recently reviewed book, Essays from Dysfunctional Families by Dan Morrow, which I find a little bit somehow related to Dan Morrow's A Heartbeat in Danger. So the scenario of this being's relationship with Stancy, the conversation was quite very wholesome, and it was moving on in a dynamic manner. It is very enthralling, it is absorbing, and at each point I love the conversation. I love some fact that was being expounded through this conversation. And I also love the fact that most of the story in this novel is told based on the conversation that exists between the characters. I think it's a wonderful method that added more charm to the book, in my opinion. So the book kept unfolding, and it was unfolding in a dynamic manner. It was unfolding in a kind of way with which I love the transition that exists between the scenario of the being's, relationship and conversation with Stancy in the netherworld, not really netherworld, but in the spiritual realm, because he's actually dreaming, and the scenario of the event that exists between Tori and her husband Jason in the hospital. Because while Stancy's body was still lying down helplessly in the hospital in a state of coma, she's having the dream. Another transition is going on in another world, and here Jason and Tori, which is actually the parent, begin to wage war against one another. They begin to have a sort of heated argument, accusing each other that, oh, it's your fault that Stacy took what's called pills. It's your fault. You couldn't look after her. Okay, she took after you because you actually divorced me. And the parents were actually raging, finding blame in one another. They were like, okay, if we had not divorced, this still would not have happened. You didn't give her the right. So it's a kind of a what I call it, they are trying to make a kind of a blame to find out fault and to lay blame on one another. So at this point, I find the characterization of this particular part very, very intriguing, and the fact that most of the events that surround the circumstances, the scenario whereby they were fighting, and a particular nurse came to stop them and tell them that, oh, please hold on your fight. If you want to fight, you can do that when you get home, but as long as you're still in the hospital, fighting is not accepted here. Otherwise, I'll call the attention of the security to you. So I actually love this plot twist here, and in my own opinion, I think it's a very nice technique. So while they were still in the hospital, Tucker's parent visited them, and in my description of Tucker's parent is that they are sort of a parent that is well versed into Christianity. They are Christian and they have strong faith. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about this book, but I want to say that while Stancy was still in a dream, there's a kind of transition that happened. There's a kind of way with which the being would show her the likely outcome of a baby, of her unborn baby. She showed her at a place whereby the baby become a president, a senator rather, showed her a point whereby the baby become a senator, the baby become a lawyer, and several other impressive personality. She also showed her the ugly and the good side of a baby. And at this point, the being was able to calculate, to visualize the trait of Stancy becoming a mother, and but the being cannot compel her. He was just trying her possible best to make sure that he's able to convince Stancy with the hope of keeping her pregnancy. So the story kept unfolding. It was moving in a very swift manner. I love the characterization, I love the plot twist and everything, which made me to give this book a 5-star review on Amazon, where they captioned that it is actually an enthralling, it is startling, it is greatly instructive and enthralling novel. Okay, the story kept unfolding, but I do not want to talk much about this book. I want to leave you in the verge of finding out if Stancy was able to make a right decision. Was she able to accept her pregnancy and give birth to her baby despite the circumstances that surround her? Was she able to reconcile with her mother? Because even after the fact that her mother get to know the truth about her pregnancy, because when they get to the hospital, the doctor revealed to her that Stacy is pregnant, and she was very emotional. She was down with the fact that her own daughter cannot even tell her that she's pregnant. She was like, don't she trust me? So she felt guilty because she ordinarily know that there's this kind of relationship that exists between both of them is not very smooth. So she felt really sorry for herself, especially the fact that she realized when Toya told her that she felt that, both of them are not really in good agreement. They don't, agree mostly. They disagree on almost every point. So she really she really felt bad about this. But I want to leave in the verge of wanting to check out if, despite the fact that Stancy was taken through a great adventure by this particular being, was she able to result in her own decision, despite the fact that he was able rather to show her the likely a possible outcome of her unborn baby? Was she able to resort to the being's advice and agreement, or she was able to move on with her own adventurous act? So I want to leave in the verge of finding out what actually become of Stacy, because at the point I realized that Tori is not the mother of Stacy. There's a kind of a description that exists between these two, which is very, very enthralling, and I won't like to mention it in my video as an attempt to make this review a spoiler free. This book is really, really intriguing. It is absolutely fascinating. Another thing that I admire about this book is the author's writing style. I love his use of words. It is honestly very great. At some point while I was reading it, I underlined some points, some method of writing which I was going to get back to, studied them very well, and I was like, wow, this is really, really impressive. I actually love the author's choice of words. His writing style is absolutely distinctive, and it is something that I would even love to utilize even as a soon-to-be novelist. I love this book very well, with the fact that it expounds on the matter of humanity, with the fact that it has a kind of a didactic message to communicate, with the fact that it is greatly instructive and moralizing. That's one of the reasons why I gave it a 5-star review on Amazon. Honestly, this book is very amazing. I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to talk about everything in entirety. I just want to leave you in the verge of wanting to check out for yourself what eventually become of Stancy. What was the outcome of our adventure with the being? What was the outcome of the adventure with a divorced parent? And what happened to her pregnancy? Did she survive it or she lose it? So this is actually going to be my short video book review recommendation of A Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow. If you watch this video to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, I want to urge you to please click on the subscribe button over there. Also consider liking this video and sharing with your friend. And if you would like to get a copy of A Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow, it is currently available on Amazon for some few dollars. I left a link in the description part of this video if you'd like to get a copy directly on Amazon. Thank you very much for watching my video book review of A Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow. This book is beyond my description. It is absolutely fascinating. It is impressive, and I give it a 5 star. You should try and check it out. It is very amazing. It is honestly very intriguing. So, thank you very much for watching my video book review of A Heartbeat in Danger by Dan Morrow. See you in my next video. Goodbye.